Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome to episode number 124, Intrusive Thoughts. I'm glad you're here today. So, confession, I recorded this episode earlier, and when I went to send it to my producer, it was gone, vanished. So this is take two. And it is not at my home once again. I had to record on the road. Today we are expecting a grandbaby, and I gotta get this recorded. So here I am. I apologize in advance if my sound is not great, but we gotta do what we gotta do sometimes, right? Okay, let's just dive in. This is a really important episode. It's one that I have had requests about. It's one that I've given a lot of thought to. And I want to do it justice, okay? What are intrusive thoughts? If you are here listening, my guess is you know what they are already, right? You've experienced them. You probably know how consuming they can be so quickly, right? The definition of intrusive thoughts are uncontrollable, unwanted thoughts that we feel unable to resist. They can be very unsettling. The more you try to push them from your mind, the louder they get. Intrusive thoughts often create worry or shame. Okay, worry because sometimes when we have a thought, if we believe the thought, it might create worry about whatever it is that we're thinking about, right? Like if we have a thought, a memory of something, for example, we might take that memory and worry that something bad might happen again, that we might not be able to trust, that our partner is still involved in things that we don't want them to be. Or it can create shame. Sometimes we can feel shame when we feel like we've already dealt with something, already come through something. And there it is again, that we're obsessing about it and what's wrong with me? And am I ever going to actually get over this? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Right? Intrusive thoughts are common for people with PTSD, people who have experienced life-threatening events or extremely stressful events such as infidelity. Okay? You might describe an intrusive thought as something that pops into your head that you just can't seem to shake. It can take you into a deeply emotionally painful place fast, right? 0 to 10, so fast. You can be going about your day, minding your own business, have a thought pop in your head, and it sometimes feels like it just takes you down without your permission, right? Dr. Carrie Ann Williams, who is a lecturer in psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, says any life stressor, if big enough, can increase your risk of having intrusive thoughts. I included that here because I just want to point out that infidelity is, in my humble opinion, one of the life stressors that it's big. It's a big one. It undermines so much of our belief of who we are, what our place is, who our family is, who our partner is. It just blows that all open and can create so much uncertainty, right? So much fear, so much doubt. So yes, it does increase your risk of intrusive thoughts. Now here's something interesting. Intrusive thoughts are often a way of coping with an unresolved, deeper issue. And I'm going to give you an example of this as we go forward, okay? They can be a coping mechanism, a way of coping. Intrusive thoughts are often a way of dealing with pain or trauma, but as you probably can imagine, not sustainable. Today, we're going to look at why that is and what we can do about it. I'm sure that you are listening going, something has to give with some of these thoughts. Like, I can't keep doing it. I can't keep going down this path. I'm either going to destroy myself or I'm going to destroy what's left of my relationship, right? For sure, it impacts your relationship, but most of all, it impacts you. And we're going to look into that. All right, so let's start first with what's likely causing these intrusive thoughts, okay? In past episodes, you've heard me talk about the upstairs brain and the basement brain. The upstairs brain, if you imagine a beautiful home, it has windows, you can see out, you can get a view, you can see what else is out there besides just your four walls, right? You can see beyond. The basement brain, I'm thinking of a dark basement with no windows. It's just kind of cave-like, right? This is that reptile brain where you're concerned about having enough food and not dying, where you're very much in survival mode. You're very much just kind of hunkering down and making sure that you are safe, right? Upstairs brain can see the bigger picture. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you are on a trail and you hear a rattle. You hear the sound of a rattle. And your basement brain, which is really important, right? We're not knocking that basement brain. Like, this is the part of our brain that keeps us alive, right? It's very, very important. But that lower brain hears that, and you're in just immediately, your heart starts pounding. You start feeling scared. You start worrying that maybe there's a rattlesnake right there. Maybe you should run, right? Your higher brain, that upstairs brain, can calm down and go, okay, give it a second. Let's just see what we're dealing with here. I'm not in immediate danger. There's nothing like attacking me, right? Let's just see what this is. And on further investigation, it's not a rattle. It's just some leaves that are blowing in the wind that kind of tricked you into thinking that it was a rattle. And so you carry on your way. Yes, you have to get your heart rate down. Whew, maybe take a deep breath. Oh, gosh, that was scary, but I'm fine, okay? It's like a jump scare, right? Got to get ourselves back regulated. I'm not in danger. I'm fine, right? And then we can respond accordingly. Now, after infidelity, we often feel threatened much of the time. Any random thing can set us off. It can be a certain car driving down the road, a song, a smell, anything. Like, anything can be triggering. Different words, right? Words that you hear that remind you of the affair. Maybe it reminds you of words that you saw in a text message, or words that you know that they spoke to each other. And then you hear it in a movie and it reminds you of that. And there you go, right? Sometimes we're really just doing our thing, living our life, and a thought will just pop into our head and we can have that immediate fight or flight response to it. The reason why this is, my friends, is because for most people, infidelity is pretty dang traumatizing. The person we counted on most hurt us the deepest. For many, they didn't see it coming. It just kind of blindsided them. For some, they saw the signs. They felt in their gut like there were things that were off, but they dismissed them because it was too hard to look at the moment, right? Too big, too scary to go, what am I actually dealing with? Either way, learning of the infidelity is a great cause of pain for every single person I have ever talked to in my coaching practice of 5 years. Some of you may be trying to stay in your marriages and find intrusive thoughts to be getting in the way. You might be sharing an intimate moment, for example, and be reminded of the intimate moments that they shared. And just like that, you go from being into each other to wanting to get 20 miles away. Like, don't touch me, you revolt me, right? Just like that. It can happen so fast. Or some of you might be seeing a more objective view of the situation, which I will say is really required to release the infidelity's hold on you. So you might be spending more time in the upstairs brain, looking around, seeing the bigger picture. And you might suddenly remember a particularly painful lie that he told you to cover the infidelity. And just like that, you're back down in the basement, your mind starts racing, you start hunkering down, and you are raging mad all over again, right? All right, what the heck to do with all of this? What do we do? Let's go, okay? I'm going to break this down into a couple steps. One, you've got to slow the thought down. You've got to slow it down, okay? It's probably fast. It probably feels super intense, really urgent, really important. We got to slow it down, slow down the intensity. This involves breathing, reminding yourself that there might be more to the story, reminding yourself that you're not in current danger right this second, journaling, talking it out, moving your body, doing something to slow it down, okay? Part of it is just saying to yourself, myself, this is just a thought. And it's not to dismiss the significance of it, but to go, this is a thought that I'm having. It's a thought. I can decide what to do with this thought. I can decide what I want to feel from this thought. I can decide where I want it to take me. But for right now, I'm just remembering this is a thought. You can even call it, this is an intrusive thought. It feels very, very intrusive. Even that little bit of awareness of going, this is an intrusive thought, will slow it down. It will loosen its grip a little bit. It'll be a little bit less intense, okay? The second thing is when you have settled yourself down some, it's time to do some digging. I mentioned earlier that it is, for most of us, some kind of coping mechanism. There's something that we're using it as a way to kind of mask other things that need to be dealt with. And when we have settled ourselves down some, it's time to dig, okay? I'm going to give you a couple examples here. One is just like a medical example. So I want you to imagine that you have a wound, and most of the time it's fine, and you can keep it kind of bandaged up, and you can wear normal clothes and go about your life doing your normal activity. And every once in a while you feel this sharp shooting pain. It's really, really intense. And you go to that wound and go, oh, that's right. And instead of getting to why that sharp shooting pain is happening, you medicate, you cover it up with balms and lotions that numb it, you cover it back up even more, and you carry on, okay? You go about, it might feel better for a while, but you keep having this reoccurring sharp shooting pain. It's the same thing with intrusive thoughts, okay? Until that person slows down enough to look at what is causing that sharp shooting pain in the first place, they will likely keep experiencing those pains. Even if they're not that frequent, they will probably still experience them. Now, let me give you an example about infidelity, okay? Let's say that you decided to stay in the marriage. You know that there's a lot of good. You know that it's worth fighting for. You're months out, and overall you're feeling a lot better. But one day, seemingly out of the blue, you're reminded that he did some pretty awful things. You remember one thing in particular where you were in a pretty vulnerable spot, and not only was he not there for you, but he showed up for the affair partner. Your brain attaches to this thought, and suddenly your mood has completely shifted. You're mad at him without outwardly having had anything happen between the two of you. Nothing has been discussed. You haven't even seen him, and you're at a 10, okay? I want you to use your own most recent experience of having an intrusive thought and practice the exercise I'm about to share with you, okay? So first, as with that example above, you need to get yourself to a grounded place. Remind yourself, I'm not currently in danger, okay? I'm not currently in danger. This is an intrusive thought. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to slow it down so I can really look at this, okay? When you feel more calm, this is when there's a couple really good questions to ask yourself. It won't work when you're feeling really highly activated. It won't work, okay? Wait till you feel a little bit more calm. The first question is this: is this intrusive thought, kind of like that sharp shooting pain, showing me something that still needs to be processed, an emotion? Is there something that I need to allow myself to feel? Maybe it's regret. Maybe it's grief. Maybe it's just sadness or anger or loss, okay? Is there something that I'm avoiding? Is there a feeling I'm avoiding that I need to just give myself permission to feel? Why am I afraid to feel that emotion, okay? So that's question number one. Question number two is this: is this an invitation to look deeper at something that needs to be addressed so I can actually feel more safe here? Now, this can go one of two ways, okay? Oftentimes, this is an invitation to learn how to comfort ourselves. Sometimes it's an invitation to learn how to soothe ourselves, to learn how to trust ourselves at a deeper level. It is knowing how to navigate thought processes that derail us. Like when we can see patterns of intrusive thoughts, this is where we might look and go, okay, this is something that I need to learn how to manage. I need to learn that every time my thoughts go this way, this is where it takes me and it's not useful. Okay. It can be something that we can do on our own. Now, in the example above, this is the rest of that story. Okay. It could be that you are getting closer and closer in your relationship, and your brain wants to remind you that you could get hurt again. Okay. So you're starting to feel safe. You're starting to breathe a little bit easier. You're starting to stay in that upstairs part of the house a little bit more. And this is the basement brain going, don't get too comfortable. Don't get too close. Remember this. Remember that he did this. Okay. So you can ask your spouse. You can, if you want to do this, you can take the situation, the reminder of what happened where you were feeling really vulnerable and they didn't show up for you, but they were there for the other person. And you can ask them and say, do you understand what that was like for me? And they can never fully understand, but I want to tell you what that was like for me. I want to tell you what that felt like for me to be in this situation and have you show up in this way. I need to know that, like, what you would do differently. Please tell me, if you had a redo, what would you do differently? And just knowing that, like, you'll learn if they get it. You'll learn if this is a person that is safe to continue in a relationship with. Now, it might not go perfectly. The person might get a little bit defensive because it might feel out of the blue. But in the end, what matters is, how do you repair? How do you come together? Does he just blow you off and say, I can't believe you're bringing that up again? Or does he try to help you, right? Does he really get it? What you're looking for is, if I continue to let my guard down here, will he protect my heart? Is this a wise place for me to let my guard down? These are all really good things to know when you're moving forward, right? Okay, so first I suggest checking in with yourself after you're calm and just seeing, is there something that needs to be processed here? Is there something that I can answer for myself? Is there something that I need to know, or some kind of validation that I can give to myself, right? You're looking deeper at that. Second, it's totally fine to bring in your partner, for those of you where this applies, and co-regulate. Okay, co-regulation is one of the past episodes that I did. It's where we learn how to help each other be calm by settling our own nervous systems, okay? By using our own safety within ourselves to help each other. And this is a great way to heal. Now, I know that sounds simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy. It requires some muscle. It requires growth. It requires pushing yourself to dig deep, to go, okay, what's the lesson here? What am I avoiding? What do I need to learn to do? What's the skill? What's the skill here? Okay. Intrusive thoughts are not something that just are meant to stick around forever, that you can't do a dang thing about. That is not what they are. It's a signal that there's something to heal. It's a signal that there's something to look at. It's a signal that there's something that needs to be brought to the upstairs of the house to be addressed. So I invite you to look at your intrusive thoughts and dig deeper and look at what needs to be addressed. And first of all, though, growing your capacity to self-soothe when the intrusive thoughts come, learning how to bring yourself down, okay? All right, that is what I have for you today. I appreciate you being here, and I know that this is a topic that affects probably all of you, and I hope that you find this useful. Now, before I go, as a reminder, I have a new program open. The doors are open. We start on September 27th. The people that are coming are amazing women who are really kind of done with their own story that's keeping them stuck, and they're ready to try on something new. They're ready to step out into creating the life that they want. They're ready to take ownership of their healing instead of waiting for something to happen. If this is you, if you're ready to invest in yourself financially, with time, and really go all in on your own healing, I've got a seat for you. You can book a consult with me over on my webpage, andreagiles.com, my website, or in the show notes. You can go in the show notes and you can find where you schedule that there as well. All right. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at andreagiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's andreagiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.